growth opportunities in the consumer sector, sweating existing assets and investments. I'd like you to please put your hands together for Mr. Praveen, Govindu, partner, Deloitte, India. A round of applause, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Maybe let me start off with a couple of quick questions. And I hope everybody can hear me here well. Yeah. Okay, how many of you here will agree if I make this statement? And I think we've actually heard a couple of panels already talking about it, so it's not new. But how many of you would agree with the fact that retail has seen great growth probably in the last 2 years, maybe between 22, 23, but has really slowed down in the last 2 to 3 quarters. Just a raise of hands. Yeah, so it's pretty obvious. I think most of us feel that it's kind of getting impacted, right? Now, the second question: how many of you think that this will really change again? Like I think we had Rajesh in the morning speaking. It's just one of those 5-year shifts, right? It happens once in a while. But how many of us are very optimistic that this would change in the next 2 quarters? Again, a raise of hands. Okay, I don't see so many hands being raised now. But my name is Praveen Govindu. I'm a partner with the retail practice in Deloitte. And we have this thought leadership that we've launched in the morning today. I hope maybe through this, we will try and address these questions. This is specifically with an intent to try and understand what probably was the case. We undertook a consumer survey as well, and try to understand what could potentially happen going forward, how are consumers thinking, and then this answer could be very different for different sectors within retail itself, right? So we'll try and see what comes out. This is essentially a Deloitte consumer survey. We typically do a lot of consumer insight surveys spread across a cross section of population. So this one is done between April 2022 to April 2024, right? Over a period of 2 years. And as you can see, I don't know where the pointer is here. Sorry. As you can see, there are certain categories, and this is like a share of wallet, right? Consumer share of wallet. There are certain categories which have really taken a disproportionate share. They've grown well. Some have stayed similar to what it was in 2022, and some obviously have declined, right? Very clearly on the left, recreation, entertainment, some of the travel related leisure, all of it, you can see there's a huge increase in terms of the consumer share of wallet, right? A lot of the others, let's say saving and investment, housing, again, partly one reason why we see a lot of luxury, housing going off, right? There's a lot of large buys happening in the luxury space. I read in the paper the other day that one of the South Mumbai properties got sold at 180 crores. So there's a lot of expenditure or consumer spending on housing and investment and recreation. There are certain categories here, like even groceries, over 2 years again went up. But there are certain categories, right? If you see, for example, clothing and personal care, 24 is lower than 22. Right? So some of the discretionary categories are actually taking a bit of a beating, right? Even to some extent, you can't see it on the chart very clearly, but electronics, home furnishings, again, right? So some of these categories which are discretionary and products are probably again seeing a bit of a challenge, right? And this is the last 2 years view. Now, what you see on the right side is what potentially has happened in the last 2-3 quarters again. Okay, so it's a little more near term in terms of its observations. Again, you will see travel and hospitality as expected. It's in green. So there is consistent growth in travel and hospitality. So that continues to grow. Fashion and lifestyle. Again, I think we had pretty much the entire 3-4 panels since morning was all fashion lifestyle. And they are seeing flat volume growth, right, in FY24. Maybe there has been a bit of revenue growth because of price increases, but otherwise volume growth is flat. And I think there has also been certain retailers are also facing the heat, closing down a few stores. So that again, is a bit of a challenge. We're seeing higher share of discount-led sales, scheme-led sales, all indicating a bit of concern, right? Footfall and traffic to stores have come down, both online, offline. Again, challenges for fashion and lifestyle as a subsector, right, within retail. Consumer durables, again neutral, possibly pandemic-led lifestyle changes, working from home. People are conscious about where they're currently working, so there is focus on replacement demand, which actually drove purchases over the last 2-3 quarters. But again, it's been neutral, not positive, neither negative, right? And whatever additional things we have seen, let's say consumer electronics, telecom, because of advent of 5G, or some of the other technology shifts that have happened, also led to some growth in this category, right? So that's how we see consumer durables. Grocery and food items, here again the scenario could be very different between urban and rural. Maybe urban markets we still see decent growth, but again some of the tier 2, tier 3, there has been a challenge on grocery also, right? Whether it is because of food inflation or because of some of the other disruptions we see in the economy, right? Even elections probably would have had an impact. Then the restaurants and the entire dine out space, probably even our Swiggies and Zomatos of the world, even they have struggled a bit. You can actually probably see a lot of interventions by some of these players to grow. So that other category is also kind of neutral, right? So overall, last 2 years, yes, most categories have grown, but some categories, some discretionary categories in retail have taken hit. And this is like the last 2 to 3 quarter view, right? Now, given this, we tried to understand how the next 2 to 3 quarters or probably next year could look like. And that's when we did a consumer survey. And this is with a population, spread across Deloitte and some of the Deloitte companies. So largely end consumers that we looked at. And there are some interesting insights depending on which sector, which subsector of retail you are all part of. You could take away certain insights from here. But we asked very simple questions, right? Just a couple of simple questions. The first question, and this is for the top half of the chart, essentially looking at how do you expect your spend frequency change within these categories, right? So will you buy more frequently, will you buy less frequently, or will it stay the same? That's the key question. So as you can see, apparel and footwear, the gray part of it, right, the gray is same as before, so nothing is going to change. The orange is less frequently, so that's bad news. And the blue is more frequently, which is good news, right? So wherever the gray and wherever the orange is obviously high is obviously bad news. But wherever gray plus orange is very high, and that sector has actually been a bit of a challenge in the last 3-4 quarters, that's like really bad news, right? So you can see apparel and footwear, the consumers are saying, at least this sample set has said, the current wardrobe is meeting their needs. So they would potentially continue with what they did last year, and last year was not so great. And then 32% of them actually said they'll actually buy less frequently compared to the previous year. So, and I think we had seen quite a few of the eminent panelists also talking about a bit of a slowdown, right? And possibly this may continue for this category, a couple of quarters, if not more, right? Only 14% of consumers said in apparel and footwear they would like to buy more. Fashion accessories, again similar trend. A lot of consumers said 60%, no change. But again, 32% said we will probably buy less frequently. Again, only 8% said maybe more frequently, right? Again, a lot of replacement and renewals is driving purchases there, is what, and I think we can also see in the market, there's a lot of focus now, whether it is jewelry players or the likes, right? Even Carrot Lane, they were saying, how do you engage with your existing customer and then try and get them to the store or online and get them to buy, right? Leisure travel, I think that continues to be good. 29% said they will want to do it more frequently. And I think that's probably reflecting in all the conversations so far. 53% no change, 18% probably less frequently. So this is still a green shoot. Dining out, we spoke, probably remains the same. 29% again said less frequently, 21% said more frequently, so a little more balanced. So these are certain subcategories within retail. Now the second part is for categories which are not as frequent in purchase. It happens probably once every 2 years, once every year. So here the question we had was your intent to purchase in the next 12 months, because it's not as frequent a category like an apparel or a grocery, but your intent to purchase, right? And here again you see, right, and this is also a slightly stark insight. Most categories here, you'll see that oranges are really dominating. The intent to purchase is less frequent, or in this case it is already purchased in the last 12 months. So the oranges denote they already purchased, so unlikely to purchase again, right? And then people also said not likely in the next 12 months. So gray plus orange is like probably, these categories may see a bit of a challenge over a slightly longish period of time compared to the ones at the top. And this is across, right? I mean, consumer durables, people said maybe it could be budgetary issues, constraints that are impacting. We also know that generally the sectors, right, particularly technology as a sector, IT as a sector, there have been a bit of job freezes. The sentiment is kind of driving some of this probably. It's very difficult to identify exactly what's driving this behavior, but this is essentially the outcome of that. Even consumer electronics, people have said financial constraints emerging as a key deterrent for us to continue to purchase. And again, there was obviously a lot of pent up demand which got fulfilled over the last 2 years. So the replacement cycles also would have got a little longer. Furniture and home furnishings, probably furniture is a little better. So I don't know. There was a gentleman from IKEA. Maybe he would probably be happy seeing it. That at least in furniture, but yes, not likely plus orange is still high. So probably still not going to be very happy, right? Home furnishings, possibly better compared to furniture. Luggage, which is again, and this is again a disconnect, right? Travel is increasing, but luggage and some of the other things probably are not increasing. So again, replacement demand happened, and again, they are also going to see a challenge, right? So this is what the consumers have said in terms of how they expect to behave over the next, next 1 year, very short term. The question was all about asking what they're going to do in the next 12 months, in the immediate future, right? So it was very specific in that sense. So what we said is, okay, given this trends, is there a way, how do we then navigate this scenario that we are seeing in retail? And that's what the thought leadership was all about, which the report covers. And this is just a snapshot of some of that in terms of what we feel we could potentially do, right, as businesses. And see, broadly, what we are trying to say is, can we look at sweating the existing investments and assets, right? As businesses, we've obviously invested in our customer, in understanding their buying behaviors, in the products. I think somebody was talking about product innovation, right, in the morning. How they're looking at ensuring that there is a lot of product innovation that happens. A lot of investments have gone behind product innovation. So the idea is, how do we leverage all the investments that have gone into all of these dimensions, and then see if we can potentially look at improving same store sales growth or volume growth, right? And that's essentially what this captures. So broadly, what we are saying is there are two parts, right? How can you attract the right customer to the brand, and then how do you meaningfully engage, with those customers? And let me ask you one more question here, right? I mean, before I get into the specifics, if how many of us, and all of you represent different brands, how many of us actually collect information about our customer today? I mean, just a raise of hands. Yeah, I mean, I can see, almost 10, 12 hands in a room of 70, 80 or more than that. Sorry, my looks like there are more people than that. So we probably collect customer data, but then are we using? So my next question is, are we using all of the data that we have? I'm not even asking you to collect more data, right? See, today one of the things is to also collect a lot of data, ensure that there are many attributes that we collect around a customer. We are talking, let's say, when we implement a CDP platform, people are saying, okay, we need 100 attributes: name, mobile number, date of birth, son's name, wife's name, father's name. So like 80, 100 attributes we could always collect. But I'm not even talking about enriching customer data. I'm just talking about existing customer data that we have and how much are we really leveraging it, right? So that is what we are saying. The first point is all about leveraging our understanding of the customer. Is there way to identify profitable segments within the customers that we already serve, right? And then use that knowledge to probably personalize the experience, personalize the product. There could be 20 things that we could do on the back of it. But all we are saying is, can we leverage this data to maximize our insights, right? And then adapt our journeys, experiences that we provide to our customer. So that's one. Then second, right? Again, a good. I'll ask you one question. Uh, how many of us, again, all the companies, all the brands, all the retailers here, how many of us think we offer a great deal to our customer? I mean, whenever they walk into a store online, how many of us here think we offer a great deal to our customer? I mean, again, a raise of hands, right? We think, I mean, not many people are thinking they're offering a great deal to the customer. So that's actually not good news. But I'm sure if we would have asked some of these panelists, they would have said, we offer the best product, we offer the best service, we offer warranty to our products. You come into our store, you get a great experience, right? We believe we offer the best proposition to our customer. But just the flip side of it, right? How many customers think they're getting the best deal? Now, unfortunately, we didn't ask that question in the survey, but I'm not too sure if our customers feel the same way. But the point we're trying to make is, can we enhance, as a brand, as a retailer, as a company, enhance the perceived value to the customer, right? We give a product, we give service to the customer, we give an experience, we give warranty. People talk about 10 years warranty, or lifetime warranty. There is loyalty that you give to customers, right? But then I don't think the customer probably perceives all of it the way we want them to perceive. So what we are saying is, can we just focus on this holistic selling, right, which covers all dimensions, and ensure that the customer is buying into something which is worth more than what they're paying for, and then we will automatically see a lot of conversions happening, right? This storytelling is possibly missing today, which means we have to also invest in our people. We'll probably have to get our store staff talk that language. A lot of those additional initiatives we have to take, but the overall point is, can we look at enhancing that value to our perceived value to our customer, right? And somebody spoke about communities. I think Adidas, Sahil spoke about communities. So those are the ways you keep them engaged, right? There's a lot of perceived value that you gain through some of these interventions. So that's the other dimension, right? So this is essentially going to allow you to attract the right customer, right traffic to the store. And then the other dimension is, how do we meaningfully engage with them? And that's the other three levers, right? Again, how many of you think that there is a lot of data that is available, let's say, at every catchment level? I mean, today, pin code. Okay, my question is, do you think how many geo hashes can be there in one pin code? In one single pin code, or the question is, how can you break a pin code into clusters? How many clusters do you think we can break one pin code into? Any guesses? 7 to 8? Yeah, any other guesses? One pin code into how many clusters? Yeah, 20. So, it's somewhere in between. You can actually break one pin code into at least 10 to 11 clusters. And today there is data available at that level, right? There is using telecom usage, using some of the other satellite imagery, the kind of density of population living, etc., etc. You have actually 10 to 12 clusters that you can break a pin code into, and all the data is available today. Now, of course, whether we are using it or not is a different question, but all of that is available today, and there is huge opportunity for us, let's say for retailers, to look at optimizing the way they position their stores, optimize the right assortment within the stores, which is very relevant to the catchment. And I'm saying catchment, it is one cluster within a pin code. It's no more, a large area, in Bangalore, okay, MG Road catchment or Jayanagar catchment. It's not that. It's like one pin code and there are 5 clusters within the pin code, right? So can we look at some of those, right? Dividing, putting store archetypes. Can we classify different stores using all this data and accordingly understand what kind of a consumer or what kind of a product that we should be stocking, right? Again, just leveraging on the data, the assets that we have already created, for all of this. We're not trying to do anything new here. Then the other thing is localization. Again, I'll give you one personal example. I shifted from Whitefield about a year back. Till about a year back, I was living in Whitefield in Bangalore. Then I shifted toward, and I'm a South Indian. And I shifted towards South Bangalore, towards AP Nagar side, right? And then, and there's a community that I'm currently living in. And there's this out of home advertisement, right? Near the lift, they'll put that, advertisement thing, right? That the screen which keeps throwing up ads. That screen came up with an ad which was about a very local festival. So being a South Indian, I couldn't recognize that festival. It was something about a South Indian festival only, right? And I was like wondering, okay, in my whatever 40 plus years on the planet, I didn't know there is a festival like this. All the holiday calendars never came up with any such festival, right? And then just outside in the community, they were celebrating this festival. There was like big banners and then all the garlands. So I was like really, and then obviously this ad also was there, right? So it is very localized. The point I'm trying to make is, many people probably didn't know that such a thing existed, but for that local community, it existed. And then there was a local ad about it, which also connected with that festival, right? So, localization is very critical. Can we localize the way we talk to our consumer? We are talking about a lot of personalized marketing, etc., right? So that localized marketing content to enable better brand connects. So this is very powerful for us to engage with our consumers and then, drive maybe purchases or repeat purchases, right? And the last thing, I think we all spoke since morning, experiences in terms of are we able to articulate and provide an immersive experience to our, and see, in one of the surveys, people said, right, and this is something that we all know, cited word of mouth to influence purchase. So we obviously, all consumers like to hear it from their friends or family. And second important thing is 55% also said that quality of advice from that store staff or advisor who is giving inputs on the product or the service also matter a lot. But again, as retailers, have we invested enough in the people who are spending time with the customer, interacting with the customer? Do they connect with the brand the way a promoter or a CEO connects with the brand, right? So this is again a great opportunity to focus and improve upon and provide that kind of an experience, right? And somebody again spoke about storytelling. It's now the entire retail has evolved from selling a product to selling an experience to selling a story, right? It's no more only product and experience or a service. It's also about that emotional connect with the brand, and are we able to sell a story to the customer? And the last thing is about, can we, obviously again as retail, there is there's a set of infrastructure we have created, whether it is distributors, whether it is retail outlets. So how can we kind of again leverage that infrastructure, sweat it more, to be able to penetrate and cover additional markets, right? So that's broadly the key takeaways of the report that we have put together, where we are focusing on all these dimensions, sweating the existing assets, sweating the existing investments to look at, let's say, volume growth, same store sales growth, right? So, that brings me to the end of the discussion. In case there are any questions, I don't think I'm already 6 minutes late, but in case any question, happy to answer. Otherwise, we can always talk offline. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Govindu. Thank you, sir.